Hello everybody and welcome to Sagittarius time. So as of today, November the 22nd, we will be having 30 days of Saggy time. So happy birthday to all Saggies, and hopefully this reading finds you well. So what actually I figured out over the 2 months of obsessing and finding the balance between what I can do and what I want to do, I would love that everybody gets hour to 2 to 3 hours readings, but it just reality is I don't have that much time. So what I'll be doing, each birthday sign each month is going to have a little bigger reading. However, I'm going to go to the old format where we will have tarot and Gypsy and Lenormand, and it was a winner. All of you liked it because it targets all of you, single, relationship, on and off, the other people we kind of like can get laid off the land. Also guys, before I forget, please, I'm just about to finish my annual scopes, and this is the last call for a pre-order price. Until the 4th of the month, for each individual scope, it's $19.95, and for all of them, it's $39.95. I have actually placed a preview. Wait for the end of this video, and you will be able to click and get a really preview for the next year, so you can decide if this is what you want. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump. It is December 2017. We are finalizing the year. Okay guys, some of you requested that I shuffle. Initially, request was weird, but I think this way you can see this entire experience. So let's start. Hi Saggies, and welcome to your birthday reading. So this is going to be a little bit larger than the other signs. Also, given this is your birthday month, you actually get 10% off from my 45 nitty-gritty and from my 60-minute readings, fly on the wall. So if interested, just simply go and fill out the form and send me a coupon link, and I'll check your birthday, and that's how you're going to get it. So happy birthday to start with, and this is just the first part, an overview reading. So let's kind of start. The first card that I got is Wolf, and even though it's self-explanatory, some of us really kind of like fear Wolf, and some of us admire Wolf, right? And I would be among those who really admire this beautiful creature. I mean, you can't tell I'm an animal lover, right? So what basically is that I admire about Wolf? Their loyalty, their companionship, that playfulness and affection. Wolves are amazing partners and amazing team players. They kind of like keep an eye on a ball, right? They take really good care of their young. Even though we kind of like see similarities between wolves and dogs, wolves are instinctual. Dogs are more or less trained, right? So dogs are tamed and distant relatives, right? But dogs also exhibit that loyalty and pack behavior to humans. However, wolves are still carnivorous wild animals, and they actually are able to get by on any basically food that is given to them, right? It is kind of unfortunate that over the centuries, the encroachment of civilization is basically pushing them out of their territory, so they are becoming almost our villain, right? Because our worlds are clashing. So this is the clash of that wild and instinctual world with our organized, it has to be my way human world, right? So when I see this card, I am basically seeing that we, or you guys Saggies, have lost touch with your instinctual sensitivities, right? Whether this has been done through cultural or religious kind of like means, or family dictating you this is the way it should be. Yeah, part of that is really good because that's what the parenting is all about, right? Just like wolves are raising their young. But at some point you kind of have to figure out if this instinctual is really threatening, And of course, resorting to your worst instincts and having a knee-jerk reaction, engaging in the argument with everybody is not what I'm talking about, right? But I'm saying that certain things here need to be revisited, right? And use this beautiful animal this month like your guide, to be your teacher, and kind of like see what kind of cues you get when you think about wolf, just like by closing your eyes and thinking, oh, wolf, what do you get? And shut in inhibitions, right? And as I said, your guide should be do not harm, and try to get out of that straitjacket that we all wear in a societal norms, and listen to what you really want, what you really need, what would be your first instinct, and examine it, if and how much you can actually go with it. Maybe you have lost your ability to love, or maybe worse yet, you have lost your ability to receive love, right? And this card is basically always talking about this heart chakra, this kind of sharing, it's kind of like meeting of the minds. But again, we have been programmed also how the love should look like, and some of us are even going against our own instincts. When somebody harms us, we still stick around, right? So obviously the card love will talk about wounds, and wounds are basically illusion, right? Us needing to own somebody, or needing to have another person who is offering us this kind of needs, right? Like somebody who will love us, and that's what makes us happy. It's not really realistic, right? So think about heart on a really physical level. It's a little machine in a body that sends electrical signals, and they're actually 60 times stronger than the brain basically signals. And I think the magnetic field is like about 5,000 times more powerful. So it is given that because we also have brain, that our thinking patterns do affect our feelings, and hence our reality. So I think what you're having over here, in fact, what you're having over here is clearly speaking to me that this is a time to kind of like really revisit. You know, sometimes there is wiring that we all have that, as I said, have been conditioned upon us, but that wiring in your case looks like you're ready for the fresh new start, right? So it is the route to healing, I would say, via compassion for you first and foremost, right? Don't accept some kind of bland standard of, I don't know, unquestioned acceptance. Rather take a heartfelt sense of kind of like profound relatedness to whatever you perceive it's kind of like apart from yourself. Oh, I want this car, or I want this food, or I want this person. Is this really what is making you happy, or you are kind of like inside the core inside of you what makes you happy? So respect the fact that your heart is a giver, putting out electrical energy, and a receiver drawing in magnetic energy. Magnetize is the key. So you have to fix both thinking and loving patterns in order to have this flow and that vibration work on a different level, right? So righteousness, fear, anger, judgment, and other ways should be kind of block this. But also forgiveness is letting go of judgment, but also seeing through illusion, right? So just kind of like focus on loving whatever you see this month. I would say really paying attention to yourself, because I am not advocating here you should just love anybody and anybody who hurt you. I am always believer in redemption. However, you cannot change other people. Only them, they can change themselves. This is not, however, stopping you of being compassionate. And maybe it is simply, look at this green chakra, like wear something green this month, or pink. You guys are getting purified. You guys are getting this fresh rain that kind of can be overwhelming. This rain card, always when I see it, I see tears. I see tears of relief. You know, sometimes we accumulate so much, right? And it was this episode of Everybody Loves Raymond that I watched a long time ago and kind of like got stuck in my head, where, I don't know, Raymond goes somewhere and he's kind of peeking through the window to see what his wife does, and she's bawling her eyes out, and him, of course, is jumping to conclusion that she's not happy. It was just like some kind of release that she needed to have, which kind of she explained to him later. So it's kind of interesting that sometimes we have those references and we kind of like fail to see it. You guys really kind of have to and are going into kind of like this direction. And the rest of the cards are really more or less lessons that you will be going through. Interestingly enough, those lessons will be, again, wisdom. Wisdom is what basically describes your sign. Wisdom is what is family, what makes me happy, paying attention to these little details. But also this card talks about the rules that society is creating, which combined with this card in this line tells me you really have to question, in particular, religious beliefs. Many religious beliefs are absolutely fantastic and they're putting us on the right path. Some of them, however, can make us be stuck in a situation where we shouldn't be. So, solution, rest and reconsider, right? It is kind of like really alone time, possibly in the nature, because nature gives you both that magnetic electrical energy. We are withdrawing that oxygen from the air. And then lounge. There is like this beautiful lounge card, like she is naked. When you see naked people in tarot, this talks about the truth and facing your own truth and nothing but the truth, right? So in the other cards, they're like all smaller messages. Obstacles and challenges, bridge the gap. You guys have to figure out what you consider your obstacle, what you consider your challenge. You have this repetition of 5 over here. But also giving and receiving, guys, is a lesson that you need to learn. We have been trained, and it could be part of our religious bringing, to give and give and give. No, the balance has to exist. Balance is the key. That medium, it's always the key, what has to happen, right? And if you do not go for this balance, then you kind of find yourself stuck, not knowing which choices to take, and basically maybe even feeling fear about moving forward, moving in a direction that will be better for you. You guys are actually resolving something that is a biggie, really huge lesson. Look at this. We have lion that is tied down, and he has sheep's clothing, right? So no amount. Did you see this commercial? This is an apple. You can tell me this is the banana, but this is still an apple. And yes, conditioning is a really harsh lesson. And I've seen that in India when they tie down these beautiful creatures, lions and elephants. And they are conditioned to think that they are the sheep. And hence, this goes back to this. If you are not living who you are, you can never become a sheep. You can never become this banana. You always are an apple. And those of you who didn't see the commercial, just disregard this reference, right? You try not to convince yourself to be something that you are not, because you are sort of like cracking those chains. You are kind of like becoming who you are. The creator, this is you guys. You are coming to yourself. Look at that. He is experiencing this beautiful solar plexus that is going to glow and coming to it. It's not going to be an easy lesson, as I said. It's going to go through ripping this wiring that you have, feeling, oh my gosh, it's easier for me to go through it, but you know on some level that you really need to do what I'm telling you. Okay, Saggies, let's see the trajectory over here. It's kind of interesting. Lenormand, for those of you who haven't seen me doing this grand tableau, you can first of all rarely see that from anybody on the net. And it is really hard, and I can actually really tell you different storylines over here that I see, and also some kind of general messages. First of all, I see that you're still dealing with certain issues from the past. It could be contract, it could be a love relationship, it could be something that is bubbling to the surface. many of you will be dealing with issues at the work front and being continuously teetering between the two ends, from something that really goes to the stars to something that kind of like you feel like tapping in the fog, right? It can be like very kind of turbulent ride, I would say. There will be trouble, and this trouble that you guys will have will be extremely important. I know we are moving into the Christmas, and literally you're traveling to home, or where the home is. Heart is where the home is, because the opening of the reading is in a house of a writer. You have the heart, but it's end of the love, end of something. Something is ending, something that was extremely meaningful. And you, there are two significators showing up over here. Crossroads are happening. It's kind of like fate. It's a think of a fate that will be happening over here. And it is something from the past coming and knocking on your door once more to see how you will react at this time. You know, that wheel of fortune, it keeps going up and down, and then we experience both up part and down part about it. You ladies are in the house of a coffin. So this is kind of like highly relatable over here to you. I think the ladies, Sagittarians, are going to feel this more than the gentlemen. While the gentlemen are in the house of the moon, the reputation and how you presented yourself is going to be really, really important, because both ladies and gentlemen Sagis, you're dealing with something really karmic, right? The core is, I think, what you're asking yourself during your birthdays is like, what do I want? And I think you guys want to settle down. You want to put your roots down. You want to know, you might be cutting communication with somebody. Maybe you're going to stop being loyal to someone, or someone might stop being loyal to you. Especially if you're a guy, you will be really wondering in which direction to go, but both basically genders can actually go into that. It is interesting because like both significators are coming at the very, very edge. So I kind of really don't see many things forward. I just see that it was some kind of betrayal, and something that was such a big thing somehow is connected to either work or somebody who kind of like has been a very smart, quote unquote, about that. Sort of like, you know, when it bothers you, something bothers you, or you kind of like have your own rules, do everything but this, and then they just do that, exactly that. And it like makes you wonder, well, did you really do that purposely, and why did you do this, right? So that's kind of going to be the flavor. Given that this is karma happening, I think it is giving you the opportunity to go into the next level, because look, it is the heart in the coffin. So something is definitely dying. Something that maybe have been an issue of discomfort for you for maybe even a while. Somebody's from the past with whom something could have been serious, but I don't know if you guys had met this person at work, because like now the bear and the fox coming together, it's kind of really interesting. It's something about money. So I don't know if some of you are dealing with some kind of reestablishing relationship. Maybe some of you are moving in, because I can see moving into a new home over here. And once that happens, for those of you who are moving home, maybe moving even in a different part of the country, so this can be both trip and travel, this, pardon me, can also mean a long distance relationship. And it's going to be some kind of like wising up, and maybe even love communication But as I'm saying, it's going to be lots of things dealing with the past. So welcome to the Mercury retrograde. Since you're the first sign, I think I should be probably expecting this to see for the others. Okay, so let's see the other kind of aspects of your reading for November, December. Okay, so let me just give you a tarot overview. Very interesting. Look at this. Major arcana 4 times. And it is kind of like really interesting. It's coming back to certain issues over here, just like what I saw it in Lenormand. And dealing with issues is not going to be easy. You will really have to, you know what they say, dot every I, cross every T. Literally, you will be losing stability about issues, control over issues. You're coming up twice, and both times you're coming reversed. You'll be dealing with people from the past. Again, this is kind of soulmate card showing up, and yet not continuing with this soulmate anymore, or speaking your truth, because you are kind of like going back, and I would say repairing yourself. And this is why you have the stars, and star is that healing card, that healing willingness. This is the card that is my most feared when I see in the upright. Absolutely hate it. It's the sneaky, sneakery, cheating, thieving. But this, it's an aha. I get it. I know. And it's beyond I get it. It's explanation. It's possibly I'm sorry. And it's complete clarity and ultimately the closure. So you might feel a little bit wobbly on your feet and how you're going forward, but there are like still emotional issues that have to be resolved. You guys need to come to yourself. Usually the birthday time is to come to yourself, but this year we have the Mercury retrograde in your sign, so it's going to mess it up. So maybe the right people are going to be the right people at the wrong time, and the right people in the right time might be in the wrong place. Something will be off, something will not be gelling, gluing, and it's asking, look at this, like you have a 16 and 17 and 14 and 4. So these are kind of like really major messages that you are getting this time around. You kind of have to discover what is about you that somehow you want to jump, you want to spring forward, but you're not for some reason. It could be very much connected to someone. If you don't have someone, there are issues from the past that keep resurfacing, and you keep thinking or wondering how to move forward and what would make you happy, to what kind of things you want to come back. Actually, this is not a bad card, and this is especially a good card when it comes reversed. So for those of you who don't like me watching both reversed and upright, so this means, look, all the cups are full. This means like we're actually content in our life, but Kitty is like nice and warm and fed, but still wants to come out. There is this curiosity in us. We always wonder if there is something else out there that's better. This is like a center issue for you this month. You have been out. You have seen many things. And I think now you know what you need. You, however, don't have tools or ability to fix it. Right? Because the 8 is generally related to your strength. You may have been doing, and I've seen this, something about work and business. These are like very logical cards, very work cards, and this is kind of like some first part, and I would say this end of November, it's going to be spent very much into feeling out of balance, feeling like, okay, I have to maintain this balance and have to move forward few steps at a time. And something may happen. So plan the unexpected. The tower can be flat tire, it can be computer died. Make a backup of everything. Keep your copies of your bills. Just doing any precaution, because something is going to happen that is definitely knock you off your own horse. And fast and rapidly. This can be sickness, And something that you maybe thought it will go forward, it won't go forward. And it can be some kind of harshness overall, but this is definitely, you guys like the truth, and you will be kind of definitely expecting that people are upstanding and tell you about their intentions. But this card is good because something will be shaken down, something that hasn't existed in a form that you wanted in your life, something that you need to reach some own perception and your clarity about things that maybe bother you. The stars is always talking about engaging other people, engaging public, and healing, and kind of like it's literally walk on water. And I think in this card, temperance kind of like to me has a different feeling. Like you see here, fish is released back in the water, but here it's coming back into the bowl. What is constraining you, Saggies? Where do you feel you're hitting glass ceiling? What is it you are not experiencing, expressing? What is hurting you? What are the issues you keep coming back to, right? Because there are lots of reckoning. This is really time for reckoning for you, because there is an emotional center that you have this month, and everything else revolves around something that you're coming to revisit. So let me look into your Gypsy spread as well, so we can see different players that are going to come into kind of like this landscape of what you're going to be experiencing, and go from there. But count on the fact that the rug is going to be pulled under your feet, and it's going to be really hard landing, and that's kind of going to be the start, but it's actually going to end well. It's going to end well with you actually trying to reconnect with who you truly are. So let's see the last part. All right, so again, there'll be quite a few storylines over here, and I'm going to give you, some of them can apply on you, some might not. Always, the private reading is a private reading. This is so many of you, and I'm trying to find sort of like a collective kind of like merging point. So in Gypsy spread, and by the way, this is really unique to my kind of like channel. This is extremely hard. Lenormand is hard. It's 32 cards, and this is 52 cards. So give it a try, even to merge the cards to figure out what it means. And now it's 52. Yay, enough bragging. So there are a few different significators over here, and I'll just pinpoint a few of them. This would be a sweetheart. It could be male, female for all of you, so you don't have to pay attention to that, because after all, it's a general reading. This is the Lord, who can be somebody in a position of power, or a married guy or a married lady. Then we have a young woman, self-explanatory, but it also can mean a daughter or a son. We have a wife, which could be literally a wife. So you can see how like layers are starting to build up, but it also can be a single mother with a child, but also can be any significator due to this general reading. And where is my lover? Oh, there is a lover over here, which can indicate somebody who woos you, like again, male or female. We have some other people, a friend or foe or an enemy, and you know, they can kind of like appear as well. So let's see. I can see here, I'm just giving you messages and not going to so much pay attention to it, which I do that in my private reading. And for my bigger readings, I kind of like sometimes use Gypsy cards to kind of like see, especially when there are lots of people, lots of issues, and kind of like want to dwell in it. It's not like tarot that gives us a high-end message, but this is kind of like a lay of the land. So I can see some of you here are married, or dealing with somebody who is married or in a relationship. That person might have somebody younger, somebody, a daughter, or a couple around that could be some kind of enemies or dragging him in one direction. The same person is maybe somebody who was your friend, and it's severely suffering. This person also could be either long distance or could be going on some kind of like overseas trip. And it looks like some time ago you would really welcome this arrival of this person, but somehow that faded away. Something that has been happening kind of like lost its appeal. And you are kind of like becoming lighter in this entire situation. This person looks like it's could be some kind of business person. It's involved in some kind of like negotiation, but they're dealing with kind of like issues that are very much pragmatic, kind of putting one foot in front of another. They might be getting out of their marriage or their relationship, or they might lie to you about that. So both of them are possibilities, right? They're very hopeful about something working out with you, but I don't think they're telling you the truth, though. There is like an essential, I would say, whale of depression that is happening here. And I would say neither a female nor a male Saggies are being themselves this period of time. And if you are married or kind of like felt really like home with this person, you almost like feel something has been stolen from your heart. But you know what? For some of you, especially if you are married and recently separated or had issues in your relationships due to the third person, I actually see you guys getting back together. There is a reunion card, and it's also with love next to it, and it's also something that is going to be some kind of agreement. You have servant and service, so things will work out. And there is a child over there. Child can indicate several things. It can literally mean a child, especially because this wife, it's kind of knighting this love, and there is this child. So maybe somebody who's a wife in a situation is kind of like coming to kind of like revisit of this love, reunion of this relationship, reunion of serving activities in the home. But at the same time, it's this feeling of how to say it, that somebody took something away from you. It could have been some kind of cheating over here. It could have been a third party that made you feel very depressed, and you were really fighting for a relationship. More or less, also it was a source of money and stability. You may have been receiving wrong information, or you're questioning information you're receiving. And again, here again I see travel, and again I see some kind of communication. Look, as you have both communication cards next to each other, and some kind of loyalty. So you are kind of like, there is like this side, like there is like two sides of the story that I see all the time, and this is kind of like collectively the same in all these readings. There seems to be the matter of choice. There seems to be a matter of, can I forgive certain things? Can I forget certain things? Do I want to forget? Do I want to kind of like end the end of like this turmoil? And do I really want to go return back to hope? Because you kind of like, looks like you're very pragmatic about that. Look, I have to focus on things that are working, and things that actually serve me, and minimize and stay away from things that are sort of encroaching upon me, and feeling really like somebody's getting into my territory and they shouldn't be. There is like a sadness. It'll be a kind of like bittersweet month for you. There'll be sadness over certain things, and letting go certain things, but then it's going to be like going from sadness to like bursting out in celebration. Some of you guys might be divorcing, though. It's kind of going up and down, up and down, up and down, like, oh my God, Sagittarius. Like if something ends, it's a misfortune. And then resentfulness, and then reunion, and then love again, and then, oh my gosh, it goes down. Or maybe some of you will have the birth of a child and it's kind of disaster. There's a communication and refound faithfulness, and then again you're happy, and again you're cheering, you're thinking, and then all of a sudden everything keeps coming back to you and wondering, hey, there are too many secrets in this whole thing, and I kind of like have to love myself. So I think this month is like full of choices for you guys, which is kind of interesting because I did pull the card as well to kind of like seal this reading, and the card was this: making a choice. So it was reversed though, so let me read this for you, Saggies. It says, you're required to come to a decision now. This is not the time to abdicate responsibility for your life. Letting others choose for you doesn't make things easier. Don't compromise because you're afraid of facing the consequences of your choices. Even if you opted for a difficult path, you can always make another choice in the future. There is great power in reclaiming your ability to choose. No one can take that away from you, no matter what. Don't give your power away. If you are willing to be rigorously honest with yourself about your motives behind your choices, you may see the need to change things. You can change course and choose another route. Just be willing to clean up what you have left behind. And I think this really nicely summarizes, guys, that will be making a choice time for you. And you might actually go on one path and then end up on another path, and keep switching back and forth until you find your equilibrium, until you find your balance. And for some of you, that's going to be cleaning the house, finding who you want to be loyal, and finding who is loyal to you, and kind of like cheering the moments that are helpful and hopeful. And for the others, it's going to be getting rid of the things that don't work and they are not representing happiness for you. Anything that is false, I see you guys completely shedding from your life. So my dear Sagittarius, thank you so much for bearing through this entire reading with me, and take advantage of the special discount, and I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. So my whole information is in the bottom. You can see the various reading choices in the description of this video, so just click on it or go directly to my website www.cattarot.ca. Until the next time, Saggies, I love you. And please remember, also 2018 Taroscopes are just about to be published, so take advantage of the pre-order prices. And again, go to www.cattarot.ca to pre-order yours. Love you.